Those who know the truth must teach, and a speaker of truth has no friends. African Proverbs. Kevin Samuel's contents on social media platforms became very popular among millions of black men that have grown tired of the negative attitudes held by many black women in regards to dating black men. However, constantly focusing on black women's negative attitudes towards black men without addressing the cause and effect behind it is no different than speaking negatively of a man for limping and never discussing those who broke his leg, causing him to limp. To do so would be immoral. Likewise, when we keep bashing black women because of the appalling attitudes that many now possess in regards to black men, without addressing the cause and effect behind it, it is also immoral. Trust me, I've dealt with many black women that fit the description as those described by the late Kevin Samuel. But ask yourself, how does constantly publicly bashing black women benefits us as a people? It does not. It only fuels the profound division that now already exists between black men and black women. We must instead engage in meaningful dialogue that elevates us from this situation. This comes from learning the truth regarding the matter. The truth of the matter is that the fact that millions of black women are now the worst critics of black men and insist that they don't need a damn man is too widespread to be coincidental. It's not. It's by deliberate design. Millions of black women are now thinking and behaving precisely as they've been socially engineered to do so through an ideological subversion system. It's one of the many negative changes that was done to the African American culture in response to the unprecedented unified black protests of the 1960s. It's how white oppressive forces prevents it from ever happening again. Ideological subversion is an offensive, nefarious psychological warfare tactic that uses disinformation, misinformation, and deception as a weapon to change a targeted population or group in ways that are against their own interests, and instead in ways benefiting those who are deploying it, the ideological subversion system. You see, the most effective way to brainwash a large targeted population is not blatant, because that would cause people to immediately put up their guard. The most effective way to brainwash a large targeted population is subtle, so that they don't see it coming. It's achieved by embedding subliminal messages into the minds of a targeted population that bypasses their conscious minds and goes directly into their subconscious minds. This is what's achieved by ideological subversion. This is what ideological subversion system does to its targeted population. The fact that millions of black women are now the worst critics of black men and insist that they don't need a damn man are the deliberate results of an ideological subversion system that was deployed by white oppressive forces, particularly white propagandists, beginning around 1969. I know. The truth always sounds ridiculous to those who are ignorant. But once you start learning about the hidden nefarious social science tactics that white oppressive forces secretly deploys against us, and you'll find that our collective aggressions of black men should not be directed towards black women. It should instead be directed towards white men that have programmed the minds of millions of black women to now think as they now do. Right, I know. Right now, many black people automatically don't want to hear this truth because many have been programmed to exclude our white oppressors from all of our analysis in regards to our collective plight and condition, and to instead always blame ourselves. This subliminal programming was achieved by the propaganda campaigns that exaggerates the issue of black on black crime to mislead us to perceive ourselves as being our own worst enemies. And by the spreading of those counter narratives into our communities that constantly labels us as being scapegoaters and victim peddlers whenever we speak about any ongoing continual oppression by the white society against our people. The minds of large targeted populations are easily manipulated when people are unaware of what's being done to them. This is why those who know must teach, African proverb. It's no strange occurrence that the strongest critics of black men are now black women, and vice versa. This is all by deliberate design of an ideological subversion system deployed by white oppressive forces. There is a secret war being covertly waged against black people by white oppressive forces. Like in every other war that they've deployed in the past, they are deploying divide and conquer psychological warfare propaganda campaigns against black people. Within this war, white oppressive forces exploits their monopoly over our narratives and our media images to negatively control what black people believes about ourselves collectively. There is even a secret divide and conquer campaign that divides black men and black women from each other. This is easily achieved because within the white dominant society, all narratives that black men and black women receives about each other comes exclusively from white sources. This literally means that white people controls how both black sexes perceives each other. This fact allows white oppressive force to negatively control what black men believes about black women and what black women believes about black men. It in fact allows them to breed distrust and division among the black population at our most personal and most intimate levels. They achieve this by perpetually feeding false, divisive propaganda into our communities regarding black men and black women. This is the truth they don't want us to discuss. However, before deploying that divide and conquer propaganda campaign, they first physically divided black men and black women by creating welfare programs that only awarded benefits to black mothers when the black fathers were kept outside of the home. They then created and started spreading the propaganda campaigns of "I don't need a damn black man" ideology to black women. They also started devaluing black men within the minds of many black women and made many black women feel devalued by black men. Case, point, and proof. The white society's media propaganda campaigns have resulted in millions of black women insisting that black men don't value black women, that we don't want black women. They believe that most black men are running in droves to marry white women. However, this has never been the case. In reality, the truth is the direct opposite. The U.S. Census Bureau released a report that studied the history of marriages in the United States. It found that 86.5% of African American husbands are in fact married to black women, and that only 7% are married to white women. This is a direct contradiction of what's commonly believed by many black women. The U.S. Census also found that black women are the least likely to marry white men at only 4%, and that an astounding 91% of black women are married to black men. Black love does strongly exist. The fact is that most black men prefer black women, and most black women prefer black men. This is the opposite of the commonly held belief that there's a deficiency of black on black love. Black on black love does strongly exist. It's actually Asian women who have the highest rate of marrying outside of their race at 24%. It's the truth that we never hear from the white media. Their goal is to keep us demoralized and divided. Now, here's the reason why many black women now insist that they've seen it with their own eyes, that most black men are running in droves to marry white women, although it's in fact untrue. Once a preconceived belief has been successfully embedded into the human mind, the individual will then only notice those incidents that appears to confirm the false embedded belief and become psychologically blinded from noticing the greater amount of evidence that refutes the false belief. For example, if the belief that all Asians are bad drivers have been embedded into the mind of a person, he or she will then only notice those bad Asian drivers that appears to confirm the embedded belief and will become psychologically blinded from noticing the greater number of excellent Asian drivers that refutes the belief. Then, based upon this psychological blindness, he or she will argue that he or she has witnessed it for himself, that Asians are bad drivers, all is absolutely untrue. Therefore, and likewise, when black women have been manipulated to believe that most black men are marrying white women, they then only notice those interracial couples that appear to confirm the embedded belief, and they become psychologically blinded from noticing a greater amount of black on black couples that refutes the embedded belief. This brainwashing is so strong that many black women will respond by saying that, well, when black men become rich and famous, they most often prefer white spouses. This is also untrue, totally untrue, created by white propagandists by constantly showing us the image of the successful black males with the white wives. You know, they're oversaturated in the media, and we believe that that's the case, but it is not. The truth is that most successful black men, more than 78%, are married to black women. The propaganda campaign showing only white, it makes black women feel devalued. But in reality, over 78% of black male celebrities, wealthy black men, are married to black women. And I can prove this. You can prove it yourself. Compile a list of 40 random black celebrities and then Google their wives. Over 78% are black. Many black women have also been manipulated to believe that black fathers are the worst and the most deadbeat dads. However, black fathers spend more time with their children than whites and Latino fathers. Recent data published by the Center for Disease and Control reveals that African American fathers spend more time in their with their children lives than any other racial group, defying the stereotypes about black fathers. A Pew Research Center has found similar evidence that black dads are also more likely to be in their lives in significant ways and other ways than other racial groups. Although black fathers are more likely to live in separate households, which I explained that reason, Pew estimates that 67% of black dads who don't live with their kids see them at least once a month, compared to 59% of white dads and 32% of Hispanic dads. White propagandists have spread the alleged claim also that studies have found that white men treat their women better than black men does. They also spread the claim studies that they found that white women are more supportive than black women. As a result of these claims, many black people are presently functioning based upon the perception that if they marry white spouses, that those relationships would inherently be better. But in reality, there's no true source for the claim that whites treat their partners better than blacks. Because the fact is that race is absolutely not a factor for how your partner will treat you. It is not. How people treat their significant others within relationships are based upon values instilled within a person while growing up. How they witness their parents treat each other, their relationship with the parent of the opposite sex. It also can be affected by a history of abuse and even their culture. But race is not a factor for how someone will treat you. The propaganda that whites treat you better is a part of the propaganda campaigns that the white society continues to feed into our community. Open your eyes. Have you ever looked at the fact that all information that we receive from the white society about black people are negative, while all that we receive about white people are positive? Or how unrealistic it also is that all narrative that we receive favors whites over blacks? It's fraudulent propaganda, because the white society learned a long time ago that by keeping black people demoralized and divided and self-loathing makes us much more easier to control. Those black people who are speaking negatively about our race are not critical thinkers, because the truth is they cannot confirm their negative assessment based upon their own experiences, because it's not humanly possible to do so. Those negative perceptions about our people was indoctrinated into our minds by the white society through their monopoly over our narratives and media images. Keeping us believing negatively about ourselves is how they maintain their control and social dominance over us. It's how they prevent us from unifying ourselves against the white society. It's time to wake up to our reality. One love and peace.